Hello everybody and welcome to the TBR card update. So we are another quarter of the year further along, so it's time to give you an update on this card. The card still has under 30 books on it. It's not that much less. I think it's at 26, but I mean the card itself 25, I think, because one is just like an ebook that's counting into my TBR stats. But yeah, it can be better. I've been trying to reduce it, and the reducing has been going very slow, but it's fine. It's moving, you know. There are a lot of things on here that were on the previous version of this, but some things have definitely been removed from it. The oldest books on it here, like the 4 oldest ones, are off, so that's already something that I like to see. But so in any case, let's go into the card. First up, newest addition to the card, not even in my statistics yet, is The Director by Daniel Kelman. I do believe that this one was in the International Booker Prize shortlisted this year, and this is a book that was part of the local section in the Dussmann, I think the name was, bookshop in Berlin. So I went on a trip to Berlin, and this is the book that I got from it. I think this is about sort of like authoritarian regimes interfering with creative license, and that this director basically has to kind of compromise his vision and his morals in order to kind of continue to perform his craft during the Nazi regime. Could be wrong about that, but I think so, yeah. But so in any case, yes, when I go on a trip I like to take a book back with me, and so this one felt like the perfect fit because it was a book that I was already interested in, and because it was, of course, Berlin based. Then we have 2 books that I'm currently reading. Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett. This is a cozy fantasy about a woman who owns a cat shelter and has to look for a new location for them after her previous shop has been destroyed by mages. She runs across this sort of like extravagant property that is outside her price range. However, the guy who's representing the owner seems to be willing to give her a huge deal on it, which is very good for her finances, but also a little bit worrying. Then we have The Book of Fallen Leaves by A.S. Tamaki. Not far enough yet into this one to give you a full synopsis for it, but it involves a rebellion against the emperor that has gone wrong, and the children of the person who led this rebellion have been split across the land. One of them, her location is known to everybody. She is under the guidance of somebody else, but the other one is hiding in secret, and so we are following them, I guess. Next up, let's move to the top shelf over here. We have a full series to start with, and this is now the oldest thing on these shelves, and that is The Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse, which is a fantasy series that is like Aztec inspired, I think, or Mayan inspired. I still don't know. Every single time I say the same thing. I don't know more about this one. This is this was part of the Broken Binding fantasy subscription. I am now off of this subscription, but I do still have a little bit of a backlog to work through, though it is not that far, not that much. It's like 2 series that I have to work through, and of the second series I have actually previously read the first 2 books, but I am going to be rereading them, so it is the same. So those 3 books are on this cart. Then we have, on this first row, we basically have mainly subscription books. So we have the Second Death of Locke by V.L. Bovellino, which is a fantasy in which we're looking at a mage and a soldier, and the mage basically empowers the soldier, or is like a source of power for the soldier, but she is like secretly like a princess or somebody really powerful in any case. I don't know, haven't heard too much about it, but hopeful. Then we have a sequel, so this is a subscription book, but it is like a sequel to a subscription book that I ordered myself because I really enjoyed the first one. The first one is Grey Vampires by Richard Swan, and in that one we basically have this world that is very dark and sort of like gloomy because there are walking dead within it as well, and we are following multiple characters, including a soldier who has just been sent to this fort at the very edge of the world where he will encounter the Walking Dead. So I really enjoyed the first one, and which was somewhat of a surprise because I had tried another Richard Swan series and I didn't really get along with that one very well. I mean, I also didn't get super far into it, so maybe I'll try it again at some point. But this series is definitely one that I want to continue because I had a really good time with the first one. Then we have one of which I actually know nothing about, and that is Daughter of Crows by Mark Lawrence. I will just say the back thing, but it's not a synopsis, it's just sort of like a hook. To be wholly without fear was to lack imagination, and imagination, though a two-edged sword, was important for survival. Don't know anything, haven't read Mark Lawrence before, so it will be my first experience with his writing, so hopefully I'll enjoy it. Same for the following, Operation Bounce House by Matt Dinniman, also an SFF Broken Binding book. Matt Dinniman is the author of Dungeon Crawler Call, which is all over the internet at this point in time. I don't know how I'll feel about either one of these, but willing to give it a go. And then we also have another second book in the series to which I had the first one through a subscription service, and that is Lord of Ruin by K.M. Emright. This is an Illumicrate book, and the first one I really was very pleasantly surprised by. This is a vampire story, and we have like three main players, and one of them is a regular human who is like, I don't know, I don't fully remember, there was something special about him somehow, and basically a lot of people are trying to manipulate him for their own purposes. Moving to the only hardback on here that is not a special edition, and that is Snake Eater by T. Kingfisher, which I was gifted by Kitty from the channel Kitty and the Books, which is one of the latest T. Kingfishers, but by now probably 3 new T. Kingfishers came out because T. Kingfisher comes out with a lot very frequently, but it's typically more sort of like dark, though also often with a cozier side, but I do think that this is more on the thriller side rather than the cozy side, and I don't actually know too much about the synopsis. I have enjoyed most of the T. Kingfisher that I've read, so I'm looking forward to giving this one a go. And then the third book in the series that I was talking about earlier, that is the second fantasy subscription series that I still need to get through, is The Bone Shard War by Andrea Stewart. So I have read the first 2 books of this series at some point in time, but I do have to reread them before going into this third book. So the Bone Shard Empire is the first book, and we are following a royal family who basically keep a sort of like iron grip on the land, but there is also a lot of negativity from the population towards the rulers. Every kid in this world also has to like give up a bone to the royal family, and the royal family has this bone shard magic that they use in order to bring these bones to life and make sort of like artifacts out of them. And the youngest daughter of this emperor is basically trying to find a way to use this bone shard magic because she is not seen as somebody who needs to be taught this magic, and there's some secrets when it comes to her past as well. Final thing hiding here at the back of the top shelf is a monster. And that is Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson. It'll have to happen before the end of December, so which means that now officially I have less than half a year to get to this book. I was gifted it for Christmas by my parents, and don't get me wrong, I do definitely want to read it. But I'm also very worried when it comes to my experience. A lot of people have been disappointed by this book. I was reading the free chapters that were available on the Tor website prior to publication. I didn't finish all of them, and I was quite bored for most of those. So here's hoping. I still feel like the storyline that involves Kaladin and the storyline that involves Zets is going to, like, it's promising. How can this storyline not work for me as a Kaladin fangirl? But I am wary going into this. Moving down to the paperback shelf. Paperback shelf is now able to host all of my paperbacks except for Wind and Truth. And like honestly, we can only blame the thickness of Wind and Truth on that, right? But that's also just because I'm reading 2 paperbacks on it, because otherwise this would also not fit. The first thing here, The Last Contract of Isako by Fonda Lee. It's her latest release. It is a sci-fi about an older protagonist who is doing one last job. I assume from that title. I don't really want to know too much more. I really am excited to go into it, but I need to find the time, guys. Then we have A Hunt for Jackals. This is the sequel to By Blood, by Salt, which I read in, was that June or was it May already? I feel like I only finished it in June, probably. This is a book that won the Spiffbo award last year. It is a fantasy, military fantasy, in which we're looking at this world where basically there's this big empire, let's say, a big colonizer who has taken over multiple cities within the world, and the ruler of that empire wants to kind of basically infiltrate the desert area that they don't really have much of a hold in. So he has tasked some people with going into the desert to find what they refer to as the devils. Now, the reason why he has tasked these people is because he was basically kind of like insinuated, or some strings were pulled to make him do so, because the person he's sending out into the desert is his younger brother, and his younger brother has an advisor who basically kind of wants to see the younger brother on the throne rather than the older brother, because the younger brother is somebody who's much more easy to manipulate, he thinks. And then a crucial figure within this entire series, and then a crucial figure within this story, aside from the devil that they will come across, is this soldier who's part of their troops, a soldier who's part of the population that they have colonized, a soldier who is performing duties to a high level and as a high-ranking individual, even though officially he cannot hold any high rank because of his origins. I enjoyed the first one, definitely. I was not like an overall like, oh my god, this is an amazing type of read for me, because it was definitely slow moving, but I definitely did find that all the characters were very interesting to follow and the storyline was interesting to go through, but it was more sort of a like, ooh, I'm very intrigued and I want to see where this leads, and then it just like didn't really explode at any point in time. So I'm eager to pick up the second one, especially when the first one is still kinda somewhat fresh in my mind, except for my mind really needs me to pick up a book immediately after the first one, or otherwise it will start forgetting almost instantly. Next up we have a book that is in Dutch here. I'll have the English title on the screen. This is Niemand kan terug van by Alba de Cespedes. This is a Italian translated novel. Don't know more about it, but Alba de Cespedes is one of those Italian authors who has kind of been rediscovered recently, and so I see her books all around and wanted to give them a go. Another sequel, Paladin's Strength by T. Kingfisher. Second T. Kingfisher on the shelves. I have read Paladin's Grace. I definitely need to get to Paladin's Strength at some point in time, because I really enjoyed Paladin's Grace a lot, which is a cozy fantasy which we're following a warrior who's basically like, warriors in this world are like, they are assigned to a god, and so their god has passed away, and in the ensuing moments all these soldiers basically kind of went berserk, and a lot of destruction and pain and suffering was the result of this. And so now he's doing penance by basically volunteering for this other sort of like monastery. In the first book he helps out with a case in which a woman is basically kind of unjustly is basically framed for a crime, and so he helps her out in the first book. This guy is all green flags. He knits. he knits, he talks about his feelings. Like, he's a perfect character, and I love following these types of green flag male characters, so very much looking forward to continuing that. Another sequel, because yeah, why not fill a cart full of sequels, so that in order to reduce them you have to actually reread the first books in the series as well. That is The Splinter King by Mike Brooks, which is the sequel to The Black Coast. In this one we had a clash between two populations, so basically a clash between a settled seaside community and the sort of like Viking invaders. However, what they're trying to do in the Black Coast this time is, rather than coming to a clash and you know, like one group basically killing off the other group, they're trying to reach a compromise that will avoid bloodshed and that will unite the two groups. Really enjoyed the first one. Eager to see how the second one will go and what the direction of the second one is going to be. But yes, I really thought that The Black Coast was really interesting and a very different type of fantasy story than what I typically read. And so I was very eager to continue, but here we are so much later and I still haven't read it. Then in February I bought Las Viudas de los Jueves by Claudia Pinheiro. This is The Widows of Thursday, I guess, by Claudia Pinheiro. Claudia Pinheiro is the author of Elena Knows, which is an amazing book, 5 stars, and I'm hoping to really enjoy this one as well. Getting down to the final ones, we have The Three Graces by Amanda Craig, which is about 3 elderly women, I think, who are spending their vacation in Italy or Greece, don't fully remember, and also don't remember anything else, but it sounded like fun. I like having a few older protagonists as well occasionally, and so this sounded like it could be a really nice read. Then I'm going to London with a few friends in August, and we all got this book that we're going to be reading together, and that is Eurotrash by Christian Kracht, which is basically about a road trip that a guy goes on with his mother to the Swiss Alps. Yeah, I don't know more. My friends were really interested. Me not, because this cover made me go like, what? But once I read the back it sounded like it could be something for me as well. So we'll be reading that shortly, because I have to read that before we go on the London trip. And then the final book on my shelf is Rain Shadow Orphans by Naomi Ishiguro, which is a pretty new release, and I know nothing about it except this cover. Like, what more do I need to know, right? And then there is still a book hiding behind it. Whoopsie! And that is... bitch. What Does It Mean to Be Female? This is a book that I was supposed to read for Herkiet for the Make a Quote one, and I didn't. It's a non-fiction about women or female insects, I don't know. But so yes, it'll get read at some point. But so yes, this is the card. Every time I look at it, I am overwhelmed. So I definitely want to reduce it. Will we do that this month? Not sure. I do have quite a few books on my card that I feel like I can link to icons on the board. I also know that some people have come up with some really creative interpretations from some of the Game Night prompts, so that, you know, maybe I could get to some others on my TBR by using those very wide interpretations. Alright guys, so that was it. Let me know if there was anything on that card that you want to push in my direction as be like, read it now. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video and see you guys in the next one. Bye!